And now joining us is a familiar face to the Temple University football program, was a quarterback and a tight end here for a long time, and that is Chris Coyer joining us on set right now. Chris, you know us, Zach Gelb, Chase Sr., great to see you again. How are you?
Thanks for having me on. I'm doing great. It's great to be here.
For you to come back, and you were a guy that played a bunch of positions here at Temple University, quarterback and tight end, and you graduated, you had a year off for this whole thing, just to come back and see this turnout, to have the energy with the Oklahoma drills, the cherry and white going at it, all the fans here, Leah Still scoring touchdowns with Devin Still and a lot of other NFL players coming back. Just what is that like for an alumni to just see this university continue to have so much success?
Oh, well, I love to see it. I mean, it's outstanding. You go to school for 5 years, you play for 5 years for this program, and all you really want to see is the excitement that's surrounding this team right now. It's going in the right direction. They're bringing everything back. There's a lot of excitement around the team right now, and I just love to see it, especially all the guys that are coming back and really surrounding this team. It's awesome.
A big thing, too, is now the quarterback play and the offense has to really improve in this offseason during this time, and they're having a good showing so far in this cherry and white game as they lead the defense right now by a score of 26-17. A little bit interesting than when you were here with the whole cherry and white game. But P.J. Walker had a lot of scrutiny last year. You know what he did in his freshman year. He was really good, and then his second year had a little bit of chemistry problems with the wide receivers. They didn't help him out too much. And then the running backs, there wasn't really a consistent running back. When you look at, as he enters year number 3, what does P.J. Walker really need to improve on in this offseason to get better in his junior year?
Well, with P.J., it's always just going to be consistency. You know, it's very normal to have a little bit of a sophomore slump after a breakout freshman year like he had. He had an outstanding year, a record-breaking year at Temple. Here at Temple, it's a little bit. It's normal to have a little bit of a sophomore slump. I mean, for any good player. I mean, I think you guys remember Bernard Pierce had a little bit of a down year his second year, but I think coming forward this year, I mean, it's just going to be the consistency of the play. I've seen a lot of good things so far out of him today. If he's consistently making the reads and doing the right things, he looks like he's commanding the offense really well. I wouldn't. Don't be surprised if he does really well this year. I think he'll have a much better year than a lot of people think.
What kind of leader is he?
Well, again, PJ he was only a freshman when we were together, but he was just kind of coming along. He had to lean on some of us older guys a little bit, but like I said today, it seems like he's commanding the offense really well. He's controlling his huddle. I see him trying to push Coach Rule out of there as much as he can.
Chris Coyer joins us right now, WHIP Radio in Philadelphia, broadcasting to you live from the Edberg Olson Hall football complex for the cherry and white game. You played one season under head coach Matt Rule. This is his third year, so expectations are going to be high after a 6-6 season. What do you think about his future as a head coach, and how much excitement has he put into this Temple football program?
Oh, he's put a ton of excitement into the program. I see these. I've seen a couple of the guys lately. Everyone's looking a lot bigger, a lot stronger. They look like a big, strong team. They're still. They're bringing up a lot of returning starters, a lot of returning players. I don't want to say anything too much, but they look like a team that's poised to do good things. I expect Coach Rule to just keep moving it in this direction.
And when Adazio bolted for BC, a lot of the players currently and alumni pushed for Matt Rule to be the next job. And he's with the Giants at the time, but he did spend a lot of years under Al Golden and knows what it's like to be a coach here at Temple football. You were involved here at that time, and that's what Bill Bradshaw said. The one name he kept on getting was Matt Rule, Matt Rule, Matt Rule.
Oh, absolutely.
Why is that? What makes him such a good coach?
Because what we wanted when we were looking for a coach after Coach Adazio left, we wanted a guy that was a Temple guy. We wanted a guy that had excitement about this university, about this program, and knew where it needed to go, knew what it took to build it, and then knows how to get over the edge to the next level. And we knew that Coach Rule was that guy. We've always known it. His name was floated around at least by some of us players when Coach Golden left. We always wanted Coach Rule in the program. He's been a great coach with us. He recruited me. He recruited a lot of the guys that were here before he was the head coach. like I said, he's a Temple guy. He's enthusiastic, and you really can't truly bring the program somewhere unless you are truly enthusiastic about the program as well.
And the one thing that has really stood out to a lot of people, both when he was an assistant coach here and now when he's a head coach, is his recruiting game. I mean, he's brought in some really talented student athletes. He recruited you. When he sat you down in your living room with your family or wherever it was, what stood out to you about Matt Rule? And when you are a student athlete looking to go to a university, what are you looking for?
Well,
What's the pitch?
Well, I can tell you, it wasn't just one sit down. I was in constant contact with him. You know,
and you were an out-of-state player too.
I'm from Northern Virginia, and him and Coach Gelb at the time, who's with the Giants now, they did a little bit of a tag team effort on me that way. But I was always in contact with one of them. I was always talking to someone, and they were always conveying how much they wanted me as a player. And talking to me about what I could do within the program. I already knew that Temple was a little bit of a desirable school for me, location-wise, a little bit different than I was used to growing up, and I liked that. But he's relentless. He's relentless about it. I mean, and that's the way you have to be. He's enthusiastic about the school. He's relentless about it. And when you as a recruit see how excited someone is, it makes you excited.
Chris Coyer joins us right now, former Temple quarterback and tight end. And I remember it was 2 years ago, your last cherry and white game, you made the transition and you caught a touchdown pass. I think it was in that end zone to the right side in the cherry and white game.
I had the two of them. I had the one in this. I had the one in this.
Got to get credit for two.
Of course. No, I had the one in this end zone early in the game, and then the one down there late. That was really the first time. The only time while I was here as a player that the offense really exploded in a spring game. Remember before that, all of our games were like 6-7 and 9-6. And
you were used to throwing touchdowns, not catching them.
Oh, exactly. I just made the switch the week before, so it was really that's definitely a great memory of mine, something that I'll carry with me.
But with that, you know that Matt Rule recruits athletes, and we've seen guys that played at corner 1 year and then come and start at running back like a Jihad Thomas. You made that change. What's the toughest part of that transition?
Well, first off, it's not that he just recruits athletes. Coach Rule recruits football players.
That's true, yeah.
When you are a football player, you can play a lot of different positions. It takes a certain skill level, certain understanding of the game to be able to change positions. You have to have an aptitude for it. I actually had a time with while Coach Golden was the head coach, where I played special teams for a little while. I asked him to play special teams because I'm a football player. Mm-hmm. I wasn't just a quarterback; I'm a football player.
You're one of those quarterbacks that like getting.
Absolutely. That's the way I grew up. But the staff is so great about bringing guys along. And the chemistry within the team. While I was there, and I know it's still the same way, where players coach players. Even though you may be competing against one guy for a spot, everybody is always coaching each other up, and that's what makes it a great team environment.
How are things with you personally? I know you had a couple NFL tryouts, right? One with the Redskins.
I had a couple of tryouts with the Redskins. They didn't. It didn't turn out.
Well, they're not that smart of an organization.
No, hey.
I'm sure you appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely, they gave me the opportunity, and I very much appreciate it. Unfortunately, I had to have surgery a little while before that, and it kind of hampered my performance in those tryouts. But it just didn't really work out, and but now I'm doing quite well. I'm a financial advisor with New York Life down in the D.C. area.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So you're close to home.
Yeah. Close to home. I still spend a lot of time up in the area here. I'm up here, probably every 2 weeks.
Who'd you grow up for running as a football team? Who was your team?
I was actually I was born in the Minneapolis area, so I was a Vikings fan growing up. But of course, naturally adopted the Redskins, living there as long as I did. So I kind of rooted for those two.
So that must have been pretty cool trying out for the Redskins when you lived in Northern Virginia.
Oh, absolutely. And when it made it a lot easier for me, I could just drive from home.
Yeah,
I could drive to the facility from home. I didn't
get your mind right before that tryout.
Oh yeah, I didn't have to stay in a hotel. It was nothing that was unfamiliar to me, and an area that I know really well, of course.
As P.J. Walker just threw a touchdown to Roman Deloche.
Picture perfect throw.
That may bring back some memories, and you were catching touchdown passes for Temple.
Oh, well, a little bit, but no, it's good to see guys like Roman doing well. I remember he came into the program. I remember his freshman year, and he played a little bit. I had a little bit of time against Penn State. I remember that year, and on and off, and took his lumps that way. And it's been a good road for him. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I love the success that he's having right now.
We've seen a lot of splash plays from him. He just really hasn't put all of it together, but he's having a pretty good camp. He needs to have that breakout season because he's a really nice big threat going downfield. How much upside do you think he has?
Oh, he has a ton of upside. We always knew it.
Yeah.
We always knew he did, and I think that was, I guess, a couple years back when he was at tight end for the year, and I think that was the part of the reason for that was to bring him under a couple guys like me and Wanemi Amuso who knew the program, and Chris Parthemore, of course. Yep. We kind of knew what it took to get there, and he just needed to be coached up by another player.
Zach mentioned it briefly about how Matt Rule has really forced guys to change positions for the betterment of their future careers. What's the most difficult part of switching positions? I mean, you went from quarterback and you're in the center of everything to a tight end where you're catching passes, you're blocking.
Well, it was something that was on my mind. I knew I kind of had a feeling it was coming. It was tough because I've been playing quarterback since I was 7 years old.
Your senior year, too.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. It's tough to give up. Quarterbacking. I always say it was my first true love, and it's tough to give something like that up. But I knew that it was for the betterment of my career and for the betterment of the team. And when you have a great team environment, players are more likely to put the team first.
And your career, you went out on an exclamation point against Memphis. You had 2 touchdowns in that game, right? 1 or 2?
I had one.
One touchdown.
And it was I had one that probably should have been. I was a little fat and slow at the time, so it didn't quite work out.
Well, the last highlight touchdown of you is running down the field with guys like in the dust.
Yeah. Well, we had run the play earlier in the game. It was the same play that I'd gotten the big gainer on, and we knew that if we came back to it, they were going to come back to that blitz that they ran there, and we came back to the play, and PJ put it on the right spot. It was a great way to go out.
What's your favorite memory of your time at Temple?
My favorite memory,
whether it's on the field or off of it.
Oh man, that's a tough one to say. I mean, obviously there have been some great memories. Winning the MVP award at the New Mexico Bowl it definitely sticks out as a player. But there's so many great memories. It's so hard to pick just one. I guess if we were to say on the field, that's got to be the highlight. But you leave here and you miss being around the people. You miss the guys.
It's more than just football, too.
It's more than just football. These guys are family to me.
Who are some other guys that I know you mentioned a few other guys, but who are some more guys that you're close with still on this team that you're still in contact?
Actually, when I come up here, I stay. I normally stay at Evan Regas and Chris Parthemore, Sean Boyle, Matt Brookhart, and Ryan Alderman all live in the same place here in the city, and I normally stay with them. But there are a lot of guys that still live in the area, and it's great to see them all.
So before we let Chris Coyer run, you know what it's like to win a bowl game. You know what it takes to get to that stage. What does this Temple team need to do? Because now the expectations, and even Kyle Friend echoed this sentiments earlier in the week, it does feel like it's bowl or bust this year.
Well, and that's the way a good team should feel.
Yep.
If you're a good team, you should feel it's bowl or bust. You want to win championships. You want to win trophies. That's a big part of it. They have the pieces. You can tell they have the pieces. They've got a lot of great things going in the program. It's just putting it all together.
Do you think you'd still smoke some of these guys in some 40s?
I don't know about that right now. I would still happily strap up with any one of these guys right now.
How about this? I was interviewing Brandon McManus once, and we always know he likes to showboat about his athletic ability.
He really does.
He once told me that he could beat most of the guys in a team in a 40.
Also brags about his basketball abilities, too.
Coach Rule said wasn't that great. And we can get around with Brandon because we know him pretty well.
I don't know about smoking, but he actually is. He's pretty athletic. He would, when we do our summer workouts, he would actually come out on the field and run routes as a receiver from time to time.
You must have learned that from Pat McAfee.
Of course.
But we do appreciate it, Chris. It's always great to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me on.
Best of luck.
Great to see you, Chris.
There's Chris Coyer. What we'll do right now is we'll take a quick break, and when we get back, Steve Conjar will join us. This is WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station. We're at the Cherry and White game. The offense leads the defense by a score of 33-19. We'll be right back.